It's about like our wheels, you know what I mean? We'll paint a red car with white wheels. Nobody wanted. Bang, it's sold. You know?
What's up, everyone? This is Drew from Subarex. So last week we posted kind of a video podcast interview type deal with Eric Collum, and this week we're going to post another one. This week we have an interview with Chris and Shelley Zimmerman. If you've watched any of our videos in the past, you've probably seen Chris, and you might have seen Shelley kind of poking around some of them. Chris started with us back in 2018, I think. He's our lead body tech and our main body and paint guy, and he's been instrumental in getting Subarex to the point that we're at today. Shelley started detailing for us just as kind of a side project about the same time Chris started, and then about the middle of last year, I think it was, she transitioned to a full-time employee where she's become a pretty integral part of our team as well. Just like Eric, they're kind of not the biggest fans of being on camera, so we kind of took the same approach with Jim just actually sitting down on camera with them to just kind of talk about their history, how they got started working on cars, where they were in the past, and what their experience has been working at Subarex so far. So just as a warning, we ended up with some slight audio issues on this one. Chris's lapel mic was kind of brushing up against his shirt. We were getting some slight interference. And towards the end of the video, we got a pretty serious rainstorm, which made it a little difficult to make out what people were saying. But I don't think it's too bad. And hopefully that doesn't detract too much from what I think was another pretty interesting conversation. Again, this was a little unorthodox compared to our usual content, but I thought it was a pretty interesting conversation, and I hope that you'll all agree. So that said, thanks for watching, and let's jump into it.
So we've been talking about the making of Subarex, which is now more than 12 years since we first built our first car. I want to introduce you to a couple of people that actually make this happen on the shop floor. You've heard from Chris Zimmerman before. This is his sister-in-law, Shelley. She's recently joined our crew full-time. And she and Chris make a body team that produces the quality products that you see around us. So I want to just chat with them, let you meet them a little bit about what they do. So Chris, I know that you've talked before about what your experience is doing body work. So let's talk a little bit about your experience. You've been at Subarex full-time now for...
Going on 3 years, I believe.
Okay. And so tell us about the travels that you've taken before landing here at the new Subarex shop.
I've been all over the place, different dealerships, different independent shops, which is good. It's beneficial to me because you learn everybody's way of doing things, learn the fastest way of doing things, the most productive way of doing things, efficiency, and bring it all together and then just build cars. Yeah.
So tell us about starting at Subarex. Before you were here in this shop that we've been working on the last 14 to 18 months, how were you helping to build these Subarus while we were waiting on this shop to come together?
I was in a shop before it was a nice shop. I just didn't have the paint booth, so it wasn't as efficient as it is now. You had to do a lot more sanding, buffing, because it wasn't an enclosed structure. So it was a nice shop. I mean, we still turned out good work. We didn't cut the corners because our shop wasn't as nice as what we got now, but we still had turned out quality cars and safety.
Well, so tell us a little bit of the story of Shelley coming along the way, what she did early on, and how she ended up with us now as a part of our team.
She started out doing some detailing for us on the side. And then she would come down to the shop and help when I needed help down there or whatever, just for another hand when I needed help. And then she just couldn't get away from me. She just enjoys my company, I guess. And begged for a job, so here she is.
Shelley, so you've been here you've started full-time in the new Subarex shop here. So day in, day out, tell us a little bit about how you and Chris work together.
This is good.
Well, like you said, like I'm his scribe, so I do basically whatever he tells me to do, from sanding, buffing, and learning how to do
Some paint work.
paint work, body work, watching him do inner structure, all that. I'm learning.
How do you like it?
I love it.
So I know that for my part, there's just a synergy between these two. And like I said, you're brother and sister-in-law, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, Shelley, you're married to Chris's brother, Mike.
Yep.
So as I see these two on the shop floor, you just keep seeing the efficiency built. So when you talk about a scribe, so what things do you try to make sure that Chris has for the next step of the build, and where do you get that information?
Well, like when we're getting ready to paint, mixing up his paint, make sure all of his paint and everything is ready. So all he has to do is grab it and go. He doesn't have to wait on that. So I'm learning how to do the mixing and all that.
Prepping, wiping down. You've got all that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's- I don't
prepping,
even have
wiping
to
down
say
the
that.
cars, make sure they're ready. So all he has to do is go in and paint. Learning the taping of the cars. That's a little bit on the other side. He's very picky about that. But
Well, we know just from when you would come and help us with detailing, you're a little bit picky yourself, aren't you, about how things turn out?
yeah.
I know that Shelley's a big part of our quality control. When she's not doing detailing now, we have someone else, but she inspects the detail, and she's typically sending the detailer back to the detail shop for some additional details, aren't you?
Yeah, sometimes.
So talk a little bit about Chris, as far as, tell us how you and Shelley came up with the Subarex badge and decided how to put it on the car.
I don't really know. We was trying to figure out something to be, it's about like our wheels, you know what I mean? We'll paint a red car with white wheels. Nobody wanted, bang, it sold. It's just something that catches your eye. It's like, I don't know, just something you see. You sit at a stoplight, you look at the back of a vehicle, just like all your dealerships put their badges on the backs of cars, and her sister did the logo for us. And then we figured we could put them on there, and we did a couple of them, and
We didn't want to be original like everybody else. We wanted
and you
different.
look at it, and it's like, huh. And every time you walk by it, now you look at it. So it's just one of them things.
Yeah, and I think that, the difference between what you see from a dealership who simply puts their sticker on their car because they sold it, we put our brand on the manufacturer's badge because we built it, right?
Yes.
And that's the difference.
You
Yep.
won't take ours off.
Yep, that is the Subarex brand. So let's talk a little bit more. You've talked about your experience with dealerships and working in collision shops where you're either doing insurance work or a simple repair. Talk a little bit about the freedom of what we do here in building Subarex Subarus with respect to accents, to ideas, and to the freedom that brings.
It's more, I don't know, we'll be painting a silver car, and it might roll out of here with black wheels. It might roll out with charcoal gray, just kind of whatever we're feeling that day. It might be done and sitting there and it not sell quick enough, and we'll pull it and change the wheels, and it changes the whole car. I mean, it's just the wheels. You could put wheels on a beater and it changes the appearance, and it's eye-catching. It's something that we just depends on how we're feeling that day, what color we'll do or whatever. I mean, you never know.
Well, so tell the story about the lady who came in and her Subaru had been totaled. She had heard about us and wanted a replacement, and she wanted her car to be seen. So
that was the 06. It was silver, and we had me and Shelley just decided that we had paint laying in there on the shelf, and we just started cocktailing it together, and we wound up with a burgundy that nobody liked, and except for the lady and sold the car, and she loved it. So,
in fact, we're going to bring her back in and badge that one up for sure, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Before we start
Absolutely.
putting badges.
It's just different. It's eye catching.
When we go into the future, like we were talking about, I think it might have been even the Sage Forester right here, or one you were talking about in addition to the wheel accents that you're doing, what are some other ideas that you'd like to experiment with in the future? Because we have a blank canvas with these cars, right? We can do what we want to.
Right.
And as long as the market likes it, they're going to go, which we
The
sell them
market
as
likes
fast
it,
as we can build them.
Correct.
So what are some ideas moving forward that you'd like to see, in addition to the accent, other parts of the cars that might be pretty cool?
Just two-toning, maybe. Just, just break it up. Make it catch your eye. Just something that...
If a customer wants something
If a customer wants it, something, it would be cool later down the road to let the customer come in, see the car, and then you tell us what you want. We'll build for you.
Right.
We can build that blue one, paint it blue, silver wheels, but if you want something different, tell us what you want. And then we'll build it to your specifications.
And I think that that creativity is going to be what sets us apart. So we have talked about doing build-to-order cars. We've had people. In fact, I'm one of these, several of these cars, I've been talking with a customer for 4 months. He said he was looking toward the end of May, beginning of June, and we've been talking all along about what type of car he might like, and now we've got some cars for him to choose that are kind of built to order for him. Mm-hmm. Do you think there'll be a demand for that, Shelley, in terms of people liking something a little bit different than...
Yeah, especially the younger generation that, coming up, that they don't want just the plain cars that you get off the lot. They want something that's trendy, and so...
And that makes our job more fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it more fun.
So let's talk, so obviously we know that the cars are pretty, they're professionally prepared. Let's talk about the dependability and the quality control that goes into, Shelley, you can talk a little bit about this. What's Chris's standards before he'll let a car roll off his shop floor?
Well, it has to be top of the line. It's got to be perfect, or it's not going to, he won't let it go. He's not going to let any kind of framework or anything. It has to be done right, or he's not going to let it off the floor.
And how does that square with how you like to see things done?
Good, because I'm OCD, and I wouldn't let it go off the floor either. So.
Right.
So so how pleased are you guys with the teamwork that now that Shelley's here full time? Chris, we tried a few other folks to help you along, but how do you feel about having Shelley on this team now?
She does good. I think she does really well. Like I said, I get one in the booth and we get it taped up. I come back out and start doing something else, and then she'll come out and, hey, it's ready. Go spray. I'll start spraying. When I get my sealer mixed up, she'll have my base coat mixed up. I come back out, grab my clear. Sometimes I even let her try it.
Every once in a while.
She did a badge the other day that looked better than mine.
You pretty excited about continuing to learn this trade and these skills?
Yeah. I would like to learn how to paint a car.
But she overthinks everything.
Well, I don't want to mess it up and then have to redo it.
That's why it's in here, is because it's messed up, and we're fixing it.
I know.
We've got a welder, we got Bondo, we got paint, we got everything we need to fix it, so.
I want to work on a car that I don't have to rush for a customer that...
We don't have to rush nothing.
I know.
Isn't that a nice thing about this place?
Yeah, we don't have to rush nothing.
That we build the
froze
cars.
up because you're on camera.
But it's nice to be able to build cars at the pace that allows us to get them right, a quality job, a finish, and
Absolutely.
yeah, there's not somebody sitting out there in a rental, beating your door down to have the car back. I think that's a part of the freedom that makes Subarex what it is. So,
Well, it's nice because like the one we brought in, it looked good in the pictures, but it was worse than what we thought, so it's a parts car. Push her off to the side and get parts out of it.
talk a little bit about, as we're, Shelley, in addition to learning the skills to help Chris and also come to the point where you're doing a lot of the same work. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing with respect to our screens on the wall and the admin and looking at how we keep track of what we're doing. And does that appeal to you to have that information available?
Yeah. Chris doesn't like computers. So I can go in there and check, make sure I have, if there's a part he needs and we don't have it, I can look up, where to get it and, all of where our parts are. I think, like are we doing if we take a part off the parts car, did we take it off this car? Or,
Inventory.
yeah, inventory, and, so.
So we're having a little rain event here, but isn't it nice that
Yeah.
Yeah.
dry?
We're dry.
Our roof doesn't leak, our shop's sound, so in a couple of months that we've been here in the Subarex shop, talk a little bit about how that's affected overall productivity in terms of just, look around us. These cars have all come together in this shop.
Yes. It's a lot more efficient because, there's some that you'll do that you've got a few spots, you've got to color sand and buff, no big deal. But with the booth, where we was at before, if you painted and you had to basically shut the shop down to paint so you kept the dust control and dirt down. Here, like this one here, it's never been touched with a buffer or nothing. That one over there was minimal buffing. It's just, it's way more efficient having a booth, enclosed area, and we're not slowing down. I could be out there painting, and she's in here still grinding, throwing sparks, whatever. Before you couldn't do that. So it's way more efficient. It's just better.
Well, we're certainly happy to be here, and we're happy to have, the team. We're building this company together is the whole idea, right?
Correct.
And it's coming together. Everybody's pretty excited about being in the shop, about looking around and taking the pride that we do. As Drew said, he's not putting a wrench to things. You fix them, I wreck them is kind of how we've done it. But to look around in the pride that all of us take in the finished product that really you two deliver with respect to these cars has been just something really awesome to watch. So I'm going to say that I pretty much had to drag you into these chairs to get you to talk to folks a little bit about what you do. I know you'd much rather be over here on a car.
Probably, yes.
Probably, yeah. So we'll let you go with that. But the story's going to continue. And as we continue to roll out these quality Subarex Subarus, I think you're going to see the creativity and some of the fresh ideas that you guys are going to have start being delivered to customers. And as we talked about earlier, when you pull up at a stoplight and you see in front of you a Subaru with a Subarex badge, you're going to say, that's really a sharp car. And
Right.
we really thank you guys for doing it. So anything else either one of you want to add?
I don't believe so.
I knew that was a no, Shelley. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up because the rain's coming. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.